जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे। जय कृष्ण बालराम कृष्ण बालराम जय कृष्ण बालराम। जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय। जय प्रहलाद जय नृसिंहदेव, प्रहलाद जय नृसिंहदेव। जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद, जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद। नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांता स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टादश श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रीलदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री 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 राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन ललिता विशाखा देवी की जय। श्री श्री गौनताई की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। गिरिराज महाराज की जय। संदीपनी मुनि की जय। प्रहलाद सिंहदेव भगवान की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। तुलसी देवी महारानी की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavatya Uttam Shloker Bhaktir Bhavtir Nashtaki. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, the creative impetus, and Chapter 5, called Lord Rishabdev's Teachings. The texts are 17 and 18. There's no purport to the text 17, so we'll read now first text 18, then I'll read text 17 later. So please repeat after me. Guru na sa sayat swajano na sa sayat pita na sa sayaj janani na sa sayat devam na tat sayan na patish cha sa sayan na mochayed yaha samupetya mrityum. Guru nasa sayat swajano nasa sayat pita nasa sayaj janani nasa sayat devim na tatsayan na patishcha sa sayan namochadeyaha samupeta mrityum. Guru nasa sayat swajano nasa sayat pita nasa sayaj janani nasa sayat devam na tatsayan na patishcha sa sayan namochayed yaha samupeta mrityum. Guru nasa sayat swajano nasa sayat pita nasa sayaj janani nasa sayat devam na tatsayan na patishcha sa sayan namochayedaya samupeta mrityum. Guru nanasa syat swajano nanasyan pita nasa syat janani nanasyan sasyat swajano na sasyat pita na sasyat janani na sasyat devam na tasya na patishcha sasyan namo cha deha samupeta mrityum Guru na sasyat swajano na sasyat Pita na sasyat na janina na sasyat Devam na tasyan patitishcha sasyan Mocha deya samupeta mrityum Matajis Guru na sasyat swajano na sasyat Pita na sasyat janani na sasyat Devam na tasyam na patishya sasyam Na panchadeya samupeta mrityum Guru na sasyat swajano na sasyat Pita na sasyat janani na sasyat Devam na tasya na patishcha sasyan Namo chadeha samupeta mrityum. Word-to-word translation, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvind, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please repeat after me. Guruhu, a spiritual master. Na, not. Saha, he. Sayat, should become. Swajanaha, a relative. Na, not. Saha, such a person. Sayat, should become. Pita, a father. Na, not. Saha, he. Sayat, should become. Janani, a mother. Na, not. Sa, she. Sayat, should become. Devam, the worshipable deity. Na, not. Tat, that. Sayat, should become. Na, not. Patihi, a husband. Cha, also. Saha, he. Sayat, should become. Na, not. Mochayet, can deliver. Yaha, who. Sam upeta mrityum, one who is on the path of repeated birth and death. Wow. Translation. One who cannot deliver his dependents from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. Please repeat after me. One who cannot deliver his dependents from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. Purport. There are many spiritual masters, but Rishabdev advises that one should not become a spiritual master if he is unable to save his disciple from the path of birth and death. Unless one is a pure devotee of Krishna, he cannot save himself from the path of repeated birth and death. Tyaktava deham punarjanam neti mameti so Arjuna. One can stop birth and death only by returning home, back to Godhead. However, who can go back to Godhead unless he surrenders, unless he understands the Supreme Lord in truth? Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha. We have many instances in history illustrating Rishabdev's instructions. Shukracharya was rejected by Bali Maharaj due to his inability to save Bali Maharaj from the path of repeated birth and death. Shukracharya was not a pure devotee. He was more or less inclined to fruitive activity, and he objected when Bali Maharaj promised to give everything to Lord Vishnu. Actually, one is supposed to give everything to the Lord because everything belongs to the Lord. Consequently, the Supreme Lord advises in Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, text 27, Yat karoshi yad ashnasi, yad juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kontaya, tat kurushu madarapanam. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities you may perform, should be done as an offering to me. This is bhakti. Unless one is devoted, he cannot give everything to the Supreme Lord. Unless one can do so, he cannot become a spiritual master, husband, father, or mother. Similarly, the wives of the Brahmanas who were performing sacrifices gave up their relatives just to satisfy Krishna. This is an example of a wife rejecting a husband who cannot deliver her from the impending dangers of birth and death. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj rejected his father, and Bharat Maharaj rejected his mother, Janani Nasa Sayat. The word Devam indicates a demigod, or one who accepts worship from a dependent. Ordinarily, the spiritual master, husband, father, mother, or superior relative accept worship from an inferior relative. But here, Rishabdev forbids this. First, the father, the spiritual master or husband, must be able to release the dependent from repeated birth and death. If he cannot do this, he plunges himself into the ocean of reproachment for his unlawful activities. Everyone should be very responsible and take charge of his dependents, just like a spiritual master takes charge of his disciple, or a father takes charge of his son. All these responsibilities cannot be discharged honestly unless one can save the dependent from repeated birth and death. I also, I'd just like to read text 17 as well, which I should have done earlier. Text 17 is Kastam swayam tad abhigyo vipaschid avidyayam antare vartamanam drishtva punashtam sugrhanaha kubuddhi prayojaned utpatagam hitandham. The translation is, if someone is ignorant and addicted to the path of samsara, how can one who's actually learned, merciful, and advanced in spiritual knowledge engage him in fruitive activity and thus further entangle him in material existence? If a blind man is walking down the wrong path, how can a gentleman allow him to continue on his way to danger? How can he approve this method? No wise or kind man can allow this. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyaham Shri Guruho Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagurajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha Namaom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminite Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Paricharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashachata Deshitarane He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Bhaischa Kripa Sindho Bhevacha Patita Nama Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Jai Shri Radha Madan Mohan Lalita Vishaka Devi ki Jai Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai Sandipani Muni ki Jai Prahlad Singh Dev Bhagwan ki Jai. So text 17 and 18 again. If someone is ignorant and addicted to the path of samsara, how can one who's actually learned, merciful, and advanced in spiritual knowledge engage him in fruitive activity and thus further entangle him in material existence? If a blind man is walking down the wrong path, how can a gentleman allow him to continue on his way to danger? How can he approve this method? No wise or kind man can allow this. Text 18. One who cannot deliver his dependents from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. Wow. Both texts are very loaded, very deep. So much can be said, especially in text 18. I'm not sure whether I am qualified to do so, but we'll have a go. Although Srila Prabhupada on the text 17 doesn't give a purport, but he gives a lecture on it. If you look at Vedabase, there's a lecture on that. So based on that, I'll just mention a few words, because text 17 is also extremely important. Personally, also, for me, that's equally important as any other instructions. In fact, all the instructions Lord Rishabdev is giving, very important. And it's very interesting to see, Srila Prabhupada actually gives purports to all the texts, but he misses this one out. He doesn't give. I don't know the reason for that, but he doesn't give a purport to that. But he gives a lecture on it. So, yes, Prabhupada says that there are two kinds of people. One is abhigya, one who's abhigya and vipaschit in text 17. That means one who has spiritual knowledge and who's very learned scholar. And the other are utpadagam. Where is utpatgam and yatha andham. That means one who's proceeding on the wrong path, like a blind man. Like a blind man proceeds on the... So there are two kinds. One who knows and one who doesn't know. So who goes on the blind path? One who doesn't know what is right, what is wrong. And so there, and in Bhagavad Gita also, Dvamaivam Purusha Loka Yashcharakshara Evacha, Lord Krishna gives on the 15th chapter, there are two kinds of people. There, and then other places, Suran Asur, gods and demigod and demons. So those who know and those who don't know. And here, Srila Prabhupada in the lecture he says that in a society which needs to be managed properly, a society which needs to run properly, there has to be different classes of individuals, different classes of men. And in this text, there's only generally two classes of men are mentioned, those who know, those who don't know. But Srila Prabhupada emphasizes that actually the Varna ashram system have four classes of men: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So for a society to run properly, any society, whether you have the society in general, whether there's society in India or any part of the world, whether there's a society in a commune society, or a society in a temple, any society which must which needs to be managed properly and run properly, there has to be different classes of men with different abilities, different mentalities, different understandings, different mindset. Unless without that, it is very difficult for a society to run. Even one sees in a temple environment, in ISKCON or any other religious organization, yes, the aim is to become a Vaishnava, but within this Vaishnava society, everyone is doing different types of services. And that service is dependent on one's inclination and abilities. And where does this inclination and ability come from? Or has the basis? In the Varnashram system, Chaturvarna Maya system, because it's based on guna and karma. And this guna and karma, even while he's doing devotional service, initially is based on that, because one's inclinations and abilities. One is given different responsibilities. So to run a society, these different classes of men are essential. But today's world, everyone wants a classless society. They want everyone to be equal. And Prabhupada in lecture, he gives a whole lecture on this. He says classless society means Shudra society. Because everyone, they don't want to be controlled, to be guided. They want to do whatever they want without any guidance. They don't want to have any divisions in society. They said everyone is equal. Yes, everyone is equal on spiritual level, but not on social level. They want everyone to be equal. They want men and women to be equal, which they are on a spiritual level. They want equal rights. They want equal rights in marriages, i.e., why can't gay men get married or lesbian women get married? So these equal rights everyone wants, because they don't want a class system. They want classless system. They don't want to believe in, although these things exist naturally, they want to avoid that. Just like they want to avoid the topics of the ultimate end of one's life, which is death. They want to avoid that. But they know that exists. So there's certain things, this modern society, although they know that exist, but they want to avoid, because they don't want to talk about it. Why they don't want to talk about it? Because it hurts. They're afraid. It's like slaughterhouses. In India, what do they call in Hindi? Katal khana? Kasai khana. Kasai khana, katal khana, like that. So as soon as you mention that, or this word comes, katal khana, kasai khana, the immediate picture comes in your mind. What is going on? Right? Slaughtering of animals taking place. But the modern society, the Western society, they want to avoid that. They term it abattoir. So when you say abattoir, what picture comes into mind? No picture comes into mind. So this is called real brainwashing. Because abattoir, they don't use the English word, they use the French word. Hardly anyone knows what abattoir means. So if you want brainwashing, this is brainwashing. The people, they don't want to be guided. The Shudra class of society, which is today, that's why Srila Prabhupada called democracy a demon-crazy society. Because this demon-crazy society, they don't want to be guided. They want to be guided on one thing only, how to advance materially. And Prabhupada says, and here, Lord Rishabdev is saying, this material advancement, if somebody is ignorant and addicted to path of samsara, which is materialistic society, how can one who's learned, one who's abhigya and vipaschit, abhigya is actually the quality of Lord Krishna. In the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, abhigya savrat. So abhigya, the all-knowing, all-cognizant. But for a living entity, here, this cognizance or knowledge is minute, but still they should know what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done. But a person who's learned, who's abhigya, who's merciful, and who's advanced in spiritual knowledge, how can that person engage others in the world of samsara or fruitive activities and further entangle him in material existence? Very important instruction from Lord Rishabdev, and in the lecture Prabhupada talks about that. And then Lord Rishabdev, he says, if a blind man is walking down the wrong path, how can a gentleman, just like sometimes we see blind people walking down, they're going with a stick. They're going with a stick or a dog. Sometimes they're just with a stick. So if the blind man is going the wrong path or crossing the road, the traffic is coming, or there's a ditch in front, what is everyone does? They guide that blind man. No, don't go there, go here. So similarly, person who has spiritual knowledge, they will guide the person who's going into the deep end of this material nature, guide him out. Then Lord Rishabdev says, how can a gentleman who knows, who's abhigya, allow that? And how can he approve this method? How can he do that? He says, no wise or kind man can do that. So this is a person who is an abhigya, who's trying to stop a person who's like an andha and blind person. Prahlad Maharaj also talks about that. Andha yata andhar upniyamanas. Right? So, this is from the fruitive point of view. But then, how important it is for abhigya, the person who knows, who's following the path of devotional service. And if others on the path of devotional service, those who not following properly, how important it is for a person who knows to correct that individual. How important that, how meaningful that becomes. Very important. And there are many ways. I'll just take a few minutes of that, and then we'll go to text 18. There are many ways of doing that, tackling. We all do that in our lives. While we are trying to follow on the path of devotional service, when we see others who are not, they're being a bit wayward or become weak or laxed, and they're not following the process of devotional service. We all tend to do that. There is various ways of dealing with it. And in the normal world also, on the samsara, various ways. Just ignore it. It's not my problem. I don't want to get my hands dirty. Why should I get involved? I'm okay. It doesn't affect me. That's one way of doing it. Other way, you tell that individual. You tell him once, you tell him twice, tell him third time. If he doesn't listen, then you leave it to the other individual. And sometimes, if you tell that individual once, because of the ego problem, they give you a real verbal, slap. So you back off. But then the question comes, what does one do? Or, the other way of dealing with it is Gandhi's, they say Gandhi's 3 monkeys. See no evil, hear no evil, and speak no evil. But actually, and there's 4th one as well, think no evil. But so there's another way of dealing with it. And in the modern, actually, when you say for Gandhi's 3 monkeys, actually it wasn't Gandhiji who invented that. Actually, this comes from an ancient Japanese saying. It's a Japanese in the palaces or in their big houses. They have the 3 monkeys outside on top. So it's a Japanese saying. So there's another way of doing, saying it. But in modern context means turning a blind eye, ignoring it. So this ignorance and it has its consequences. It has its consequences. I just like to read a small Mahabharat incident on that to illustrate this, how important it is for a person who knows what to do to tell somebody who's not doing it right, or to guide somebody. A person in knowledge must guide that individual. If that individual doesn't listen, that is okay. But at least one has done one's duty. And by not doing one's duty, what are the consequences? So when Draupadi Devi was being disrobed, Dushashan tried to disrobe her, and we know the story. Lord Krishna came, she prayed to Lord Krishna supplied unlimited sari. After that, in front of the whole assembly, it wasn't a small assembly, it was a huge assembly. And thousands of kings were there because the gambling match has just taken place. You see, the final gambling match. So everyone came to the gambling match, and after this disrobing took place. So after being disrobed, Draupadi was very furious. She was very furious at her husbands. 5 husbands, the Maharathis, because they didn't do anything. And she was very furious to the elders of the society, of her family. Who? Dhritarashtra, Bhishmadev, Kripacharya, Vidura. She was very furious. How come no one helped? And there's a whole commentary on these things. But then she asked individually, she asked Dhritarashtra, the eldest, and the Bhishmadev, and Dronacharya, obviously he was there as well. So she asked each of these 4, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Bhishmadev, and Dhritarashtra, what was my fault? What did I do wrong? And how come no one stopped Dushashan doing what he did? Everyone kept quiet. Everyone was quiet. Then Vidura, being Vidura, he got up, and while this was going up and the whole assembly was murmuring and chatting with each other, whole noise was coming, and the four Maharathis, they were with the head down. They knew they were wrong, but they couldn't say a word. So the heads were down. So at the end, Vidura stood up, and he by indication he raises a hand and gesticulates, and he tells everyone to be quiet, and then he speaks. I'd just like to read a couple of things. Very eye-opening thing, I thought, while I was reading this morning. This came to my mind. He says, so before Vidura, Vikarna actually made his comments, and he said, Duryodhana was wrong, and his own brother was wrong, and Duryodhana was furious at Vikarna, and so was Karna as well. Anyway, so then Vidura, he says, those who know what is right and those who are, but they don't answer a query or don't make others correct, what happens to them? It's like sometimes we see that ourselves individually. Somebody asks us, we see others doing something wrong in a family, in friends, other places, in committees, in so many other places where there is opportunities like that. He says, those who do nothing to a query like Draupadi is asking, those who keep quiet, then they incur 50%, half of the lie, the sin associated with the lie. 50% will that individual person who stays quiet. And then he says, on the other hand, those who know but say something wrong. They know what is right, but then don't say what is right, but they say the opposite. Then full sin committed to a lie he will incur. And then he relates an incident. Once Virochan, the son of Prahlad Maharaj, Virochan had an argument with Shundhanvan, the son of sage Angiras, as to who's bright, who's better, who's superior, because both of them, they wanted to get married to same Mataji. Right. So they were arguing who's better, who's superior. So Virochan came to Prahlad Maharaj, and they asked, and Sundanvan also came, they asked Prahlad Maharaj, this is Vidura narrating to the whole assembly. So Virochan asked his father, Father, we are Kshatriyas, we're the rulers. Tell us, we're naturally very superior to everyone. Tell us who is superior, me or the Shundanvan, the sage, sage's son. Jai Shri Radha Madan Mohan Lalita Vishakha Devi ki jai. Shri Gaurnitai ki jai. Krishna Balaram ki jai. Prahlad Nrsimha Dev Bhagwan ki jai. So who's better? Tell me. So Prahlad Maharaj was in a bit of a dilemma. He didn't know what to do. Here is my son. If I say something wrong against him, I will upset him. And if I say something wrong against sage's son, I'll probably be cursed. And then Shundanvan, being the sage's son, a Brahmin, a tapasvi, in Trikalagya, he knew what was happening in Prahlad Maharaj's mind. Then he says, Maharaj, if you say the wrong thing, your head will be split into 100 pieces. 100 pieces. And then Prahlad Maharaj is a bit scared now. So then he goes to his forefather, Kashyapani. He goes to Kashyapani and asks him the same question. And Kashyapani gives these answers. He says, he who knows what is right, what is wrong, but does not say what is right, what is wrong, or one who's asked a question and keeps quiet, doesn't say. Then he says, either because of temptation, there are many reasons, because temptation, anger, fear, obligation, etc. So many reasons one keeps quiet, Then he says, 1,000 nooses of Varun Dev will hang in it. He will be hanged. 1,000 nooses will be on his neck. So noose of Varun Dev is the way he punishes people. And noose, to get over the noose of Varun Dev is very difficult. One's great suffering with one noose, let alone 1,000. And each year, one noose becomes loose. So 1,000 years, one will have to suffer greatly. And then he says, then he talks about a witness. He says, person who is cited as a witness, okay, there was that. So let me just go through. And then in an assembly, where if an assembly, if something is being done wrong, that is not being corrected, not just by one, but many. If that is not corrected, then the person who's acting 1/4, basically 1/4 of the sins will go to the person who's not being corrected, and then those who's not correcting, the whole of the sin will go to him. And then he talks about other sides, other aspects. There's so many things, I won't go into it because I want to talk about text 18. Anyway, then he hears, then he says, a person who's truth-telling, person who tells the truth and who corrects and who stops person from going in the wrong path, then he will never loses his religious merits. And then after Then Kashyap Muni tells Prahlad Maharaj, actually, the son of Angiras is indeed superior to your son. This whole detail, I mean, if you have chance, please read that. It's very interesting. And then Prahlad Maharaj comes back and tells Sundarman, tells Virochan, my son, we're not superior, he is superior. And then Sundarman gives benediction to Virochana in front of Prahlad Maharaj. Yes, he will live a long life because you as a father told the right thing. So, very important here, if a blind man is walking down the wrong path, how can a gentleman allow him to continue on the way to danger? How can he approve this method? So, responsibility is, duty is there if we don't want to be implicated in losing our religious merits or incurring sin. Don't think because I'm following devotional service, I'll be okay. Which offense is that? To commit sin on the strength of the holy name of the Lord? 6th offense, right? 7th offense. So don't think that. Don't think this is just in Mahabharata. It doesn't apply to me because I'm following devotional service. No, it is not like that. We're not immune. A person who's following devotional service, he's not immune to sinful reactions. No, he's not. One has to be very careful. So now coming back to the text 18, again very deep, so much is here. And Prabhupada says there are many spiritual masters. Many spiritual masters. So the first one is Guru. Out of all of them, Guru, a spiritual master, father, husband, mother, or worshipable demigod. Demigod is the end and Guru is first. Why Guru? Guru is the most important personality in one's life. There are many different types of Gurus, many different types of spiritual masters. And we know Prabhupada mentions in various, in that text 321, yad yad achriti sreshtas tattat evatarojana, many times. One's teacher is a Guru, one's parents is a Guru, one's elders are Gurus. And there are 4 other types of Gurus, Pradaksha Guru, Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru, and Chaitya Guru. And there are different types of spiritual masters. But Lord Rishadev is advising that one should not become a Guru, or a husband, or a father, or a mother, or a worshipful demigod, unless and until, what's the qualification? Unless and until that Guru, or that individual is able to deliver his or her follower from the path of repeated birth and death. That is a qualification. Now, by reading this, one may think, oh, I don't want to become a Guru. I don't want to get married. I don't want to become a mother. Right? I don't want to become a demigod. No, that's not what Lord Rishabdev is pointing out here. Lord Rishabdev is pointing out the responsibility that comes with these positions. One has to be responsible. And Guru is the most responsible individual. Unless and until one is responsible, one is not able to take the follower to higher paths and out of this sansar, as text 17 is talking about. And text 1, the very first instruction, Lord Rishadev also points it out. He says, here we go. One who has been awarded this human form should not work day and hard simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stew. Then tapo divyam putrika yena sattvam, one should engage in penance and austerity to attain divine position of devotional service. That is the goal. And a Guru must actually be able to tell that his follower, yes, get out of this material world and be able and be responsible for that individual to take him out or her out of the spiritual world. But how can a Guru do that? If the Guru himself is not qualified, how can he take his follower out of this material world? So the qualification of the Guru is also important. And why does one approach as a Guru? Tasmad Guru Parpaddaye. Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam. Jigyasu, one is Jigyasu, Shreya Uttamam, because Shreya, the benefits of the best benefit or the goal of that individual, to hear that. And one approaches the Guru, and what does Guru tells that individual? Tadvadhi pranipaten pariprashnen seva upadekshanti te jnanav jnaninas tattva darshana. And the Guru must be tattvadarshi. What is the tattvadarshi? Vadanti tattvadas tattvam tajaj jnanam advayam. That's tattvadarshi. Prameti brahmeti bhagwaniti shabdate. He has to be tattvadarshi. Unfortunately, and Prabhupada in the lecture of this text also points it out. He says, Guru, unfortunately this day and age, and Prabhupada really has a go at modern gurus. Modern gurus, the gurus of today, they don't know the goal of life. If they don't know the goal of life, if they're not qualified, how can they lead their followers to out of this sansar? And in fact, many times, Prabhupada points it out, a follower will reach or accept a guru because of fashion. And a disciple will ask a guru for some wealth or some health. That's what happens when one goes to Guru, please, I'm very sick, please help me. And the Guru want to fool his disciple, does something and produce a vibhuti and give us some dust. Eat this and you'll be okay. And that's what Guru and disciple relationship is come to. Nothing else. Guru's not telling the disciple, follow the path of devotional service. And only that way you will escape the path of birth and death. They're not interested. The Guru's not interested. The disciple is not interested. They're just interested in sense gratification. I was just reading the other day, there's one particular leader of one particular organization in North India. He's been dead for 2 years. And his disciples keeping his body, thinking and telling the world he's in samadhi. The doctors are told he's clinically dead. He's died long 2 years ago. But they're keeping him in freezer, hoping that he will come back. Because he's in samadhi, he'll come out of samadhi and, we'll have a relationship again. But he's been dead. So that's what the relationship of guru and disciple has come, of modern day. Because they just want to benefit each other. And Prabhupada says many other things on this particular aspect, the guru aspect. We don't have so much time. But then Prabhupada in the purport, he gives different instances of where a guru can be rejected if he is not qualified. And Prabhupada talks about Bali Maharaj when he rejected Shukracharya. Shukracharya was the guru of the Asuras. And when Lord Vamandev came to ask for 3 steps of land, Shukracharya knew this is Lord Vishnu himself. And Shukracharya tried to dissuade Bali Maharaj not to give him any benediction. Whatever he asked, say no. And Bali Maharaj, when he heard this Lord Vishnu himself, he became very pleased. He became, because he was ultimately a devotee. And even Shukracharya tried to stop Bali Maharaj, because before making a sankalpa, before making a vow, they had to take a water. And with the water, the mantra was said and vow was done. Shukracharya even went in the nozzle of the pot. And Vamandev with his straw took out the obstacle. So that time, Bali Maharaj rejected Shukracharya. This is one incident where a guru can reject, where a disciple can reject a guru. The other incident, Prabhupada, is where Bhishmadev did not follow his guru on one particular aspect. His guru was Parshuram, about the marriage aspect. So there was another incident. Prabhupada goes on to say, Then he says, similarly, the Brahmanas, the wives, one should not become a husband. The wives of the Brahmanas, we read in the 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, when Krishna and Balaram were hungry, they sent their friends to go look for something to eat. So they come across the Brahmanas, the community of Brahmanas who were performing their fruitive activities, and they asked the Brahmanas, Krishna's hungry, give us something. They said, who's Krishna? Anyway, so we know. And then when the wives heard, Krishna's hungry, so they left everything and prepared and came to Krishna and Balaram. So, and Prabhupada says this is another instance where the Brahmanas who were performing sacrifices, the wives of the Brahmanas gave up their relatives and husbands just to satisfy Krishna. This is an example of wife rejecting a husband who cannot deliver her from dangers of birth and death. And similarly, Prahlad Maharaj rejected his father, Hiranyakashipu. And Bharat Maharaj rejected his mother. I don't know the story of that. Bharat Maharaj rejecting his mother. Prabhu. Oh, yes, that Bharat Maharaj. Yes, kicking. I was thinking the other Bharat Maharaj. Yes, that Bharat Maharaj, kicking. Yes, very true. Yeah, Bharat Maharaj rejecting his mother, Kekai. Thank you, Prabhu. And the other one, last one, Devam, indicates a demigod who accepts worship from a dependent. He says, ordinarily, spiritual master, husband, father, mother, or spiritual relative accepts worship from an inferior. So, superior accepts worship from an inferior. And he becomes, in one sense, becomes Deva. But here, Rishabdev forbids it. He says, first, the spiritual master, husband, must be able to release the dependence from birth and death. Only they should accept worship. And this points out, then it makes one think about the demigods, because they're accepting. And what is the definition of demigod? In Padma Purana it is said, Vishnu Bhakta Smrita Deva. Person who a Vaishnava, a Vishnu Bhakta, who's Bhaved Deva, who becomes a Deva. So then there are other asuras who actually worship demigods. They also worship the demigods. But are these demigods Vishnu Bhaktas? In 7th chapter, 21, Lord Krishna says, Yo yam tanum bhakta shuddhyam architamichati. That those who worship the demigods is Krishna himself, who gives the faith in the followers to worship the demigods. But if the demigods are not qualified to release their followers from repeated birth and death, they should not take that position up. And not every demigod is capable of doing that. Just like not every spiritual master is capable of doing that. So here's a warning. This warning is for a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, and a demigod. A worshipable elder or a senior person in the family or a community. A dependent. Anyone who has dependence, a great responsibility takes place. Everyone should be very responsible and take charge of his dependents, just like a spiritual master. And just to finish off, the analogy is given, how does a spiritual master takes care of his dependents? Just like a mother, loving mother, when the children are small, young, they don't want to go to school. They don't get up. It's for a mother and father, it's a great task to get the children up, get them ready, because they're sleeping and they fight, they cry, I don't want to go to school, I don't want to do this. You have to get them ready, feed them, and then take them to bathroom, have a bath, only that. So that loving process where the mother is getting the child ready to take him to school, similarly a spiritual master's responsibility or any dependent's responsibility is to make that dependent ready by that loving process. But that also depends on the dependent as well. There's a saying in English, you can take the horse to a well, but you can't make the horse drink the water. So it's a two-way process. Two-way process. Everything is a two-way process, not just one way. There's the qualifications of spiritual master, qualifications of disciple, qualifications of a dependence as well. You just cannot, it's not a one-way traffic. So all these responsibilities cannot be discharged honestly unless one can save the dependent from repeated birth and death. So that is the question. That is the point. That is the aim. Saving the dependents from repeated birth and death. In ISKCON, everyone's so fortunate and so, very fortunate. In one sense, I don't want to undermine the responsibility and the ability of the spiritual masters in ISKCON, and they are capable of taking the dependents and taking the dependent from the path of birth and death. But another way, an easy way in ISKCON for spiritual masters is to take them at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. And then Srila Prabhupada will, in a parampara, and he is capable. Definitely in the parampara is capable. So that's much more easier way. Much less responsibility is there. So I'm not sure I did justice to this. Very deep verses. But I'll stop here today. Unless there are some corrections, comments and questions on this, what we said. If not, we stop. Thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.